Man, I don't know about you guys, but I get so pumped up and excited this time of the year. We just went through OTAs. Training camp is upon us. And then before you know it, preseason is going to be here. Then you're going to have those guys that are, near the bottom of everybody's list of potential maybe starters or whatever. But there's going to be some guys that start climbing the depth chart. And in this video, I want to feature a guy that is quietly a stud on this roster that may even see substantial amount of playing time, a guy that didn't get any playing time last year. And I want you guys to leave your comments. Let me know who you think that player is going to be on this Packer roster. I mean, there's going to be a lot of changes, diamonds in the roughs that may, climb up the depth chart. There's going to be guys that, we didn't get a chance to see that the Packers had high aspirations for. Brian Gutekunst went out and drafted Jordan Morgan in the first round. Clearly, we think that this guy obviously has some talent. So what's his role going to look like in this year? Is he going to be a starter? Is he not going to be a starter? What about Marshawn Lloyd? Marshawn Lloyd is a guy that potentially could be a great 1-2 punch out of the backfield for the Packers, but this dude's been plagued by injuries. What's his role going to look like? What about Javon Bullard? Javon Bullard, where's he going to play? Is he going to play safety? Is he going to play nickel? Nobody knows the answers to these questions quite yet, but when we have training camps and when we start, have the preseason, it starts weeding out some of those answers. But there's a guy that's quietly climbing the depth charts and may see some substantial amount of playing time this season. I think it's going to be Kalen King. Kalen King, of course, we all know that this dude was considered a first-round pick a couple of years ago, and then he ends up falling late into the seventh round due to a poor sophomore season at Penn State, and the Packers were able to capitalize that. Brian Gutekunst was able to capitalize on his poor sophomore year, and then nobody quite knows what this dude could do, but we know that he was going to potentially be even considered as a first-round draft pick. So this is a guy that clearly has the athleticism and talent and the gifts all there. Now it's just a matter of putting all the pieces of the puzzle together. Hopefully Jeff Hafley can do that. So he gets some high praises from some of the coaching staff in Green Bay. And one of them says, I don't want to speak too soon, but he's looking really, really good. And defensive game coordinator Derek Ansley, the passing game coordinator, said that I don't want to speak too soon, knock on wood, but he's looking really, really good out there. He's playing inside and out, kind of like the light has gone on for him. Shouldn't it be on? It says gone off for him. It should be on for him. I think. Leave your comments. Am I off there? And he looks more springy in his step. That's great news for us, especially considering that not only did we draft this dude 255th overall in the draft, but we are also going to be without Jair Alexander. So our defensive backs look a little bit more thin in that respect. So then he goes on to say that he changed his body. His mind is at ease and he has jumped into this thing full speed ahead. He's been very impressive, and we've just got to continue to get the kind of day-to-day performance out of him. I'm super pumped up and excited about this potential diamond in the rough when you start looking at where we drafted Kalen King. This is a guy that, coming out of college now, this is another reason why he fell. He didn't maybe score as great as other DBs in the 2024 draft class, and hence why he fell to the seventh round. But his RAS score was a 6.68 out of 10. There's room for improvement, but again, we know that this dude has the skill set and the skills there to be a difference maker in this league. Let's check out some highlights of Kalen King, what this dude is able to do out on the football field for Penn State, jumping in front of, reading the quarterback. If you look at a lot of highlights, he's got this perfect mix of reading the defender, but also keeping his eyes up at the quarterback. He's a great open field tackler, as you can see, even right there, going against Ohio State. This dude has played against some athletes: Michigan, Ohio State, Wisconsin. This dude's great instincts. We already know that he's got the instincts out there to be a professional, in this league, but let alone maybe see considerable playing time like a starter or whatnot. Leave your comments on that. Let me know, what do you think Kalen King's role is going to be? Is he going to Could he be a starter? Could he be a starter for Jeff Halfley's backfield there? Nobody quite knows, but I'm pumped up and excited about it. Let's take a look at their depth chart as it sits right now. Okay, so as we stand right now, the projected starters are going to be Carrington Valentine. At one side, you've got Keyshawn Nixon. On the other, you've got the nickel as Nate Hobbs, of course, somebody that we went out and signed this last offseason. You've got Javon Bullard. We talked about like what's his role going to look like. We drafted Micah Robinson, in the seventh round of this year's draft. We seem to keep waiting for, the seventh round to go and get some of these DBs. Clearly, there's some talent there. But Kalen King is one of those surprise signings. And then we got, a couple of other guys like Gregory Jr. that we went out and picked up, and Jonathan Baldwin, undrafted free agents. So all of those pieces are on the Packers roster as it sits right now. But where do they fit? And as training camp approaches, this is a guy, Kalen King, that can quietly be a stud on this Packer roster. I could easily see him potentially starting at some point this year. That's how gifted this athlete is. But I want you guys to leave your comments on all of that. But as always, go Pack Go.